on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, on my own today to talk to you guys about Tna Genesis coming up this weekend. And since I don't have Jake with me tonight, I'm going to take this opportunity to say, please go check out our buddy Jake DeMarco at Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco on YouTube or Countdown Ended on X, who 9 times out of 10 makes me look way better than I actually am. Big shout out to Jake. Hopefully have him on here tomorrow for the State of Wrestling, where we've got a lot to talk about. But I'm going to give you guys Genesis. Obviously, 2 things are going to come into play here. I haven't seen the Go Home show, which directly affects one of these matches at least. And we're going to be talking a lot about WWE, because much like when we predict a NXT show, and we say, this person could win and this person could get called up, whatever, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, etc., there is a particular amount of WWE influence on this card, as there always is. Contracts are ending, contracts are about to end, rumors abound, and, you know, some of them are better kept secrets than others, let's just say. Some of them are will they, won't they, and some of them are about as obvious as Penta's debut this past Monday on Raw, which we will talk about when Jake and I get back together to do the State of Wrestling, so there's your little trailer right there. But you're stuck with just me, which means 2 things. Pod's going to be a lot shorter, and about 5 minutes in or so, you guys will all be missing Jake. So for the last time, shout out to Jake, shout out to anybody in the American wildfire situation who's still dealing with all that. I will reiterate, I can't imagine what you guys are going through. Hope you guys are as okay as you can be, or okay is coming to you eventually. For me to say much else other than that would be really, really ignorant on my part, because I only have little clips and bits that I see on the news. I don't know what caused it. I don't want to talk about climate change. I don't want to talk about political shit. I want you guys to be okay, especially if you are within the sound of my voice. And if I can give you a distraction for 5-10 minutes or so, all the bonus. Let's get into Genesis. Genesis, I can't remember the last time TNA did a Genesis, I'm not going to lie. If you want more in-depth TNA stuff, I will say as well, go check out the Wrestling for Life guys in general. I'm sure they're doing a live stream this weekend, but specifically out of those 3 guys, KJ's great, Nick's great, but check out Ringsider Anthony, who does all of their TNA coverage. The guy does it way better and way more often than I do, so worth a listen if you're not already familiar with those guys. But I mean, let's be real, you're probably living under a rock if that's the case. Let's get into the card. On the pre-show, Frankie Kazarian versus Leon Slater. I don't want to be disrespectful, this is the most pre-show of pre-show matches ever. I do like Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian was never used properly in AEW when they gave him the Elite Hunter gimmick. That could have been something, but there's egos in AEW. Are there not? He's doing this whole, like, I'm the elder statesman of TNA, the king of TNA. He's got the trophy thing that he can cash in at any time that he's got looming over everybody's head, much like Christian Cage over in AEW, or much like a Money in the Bank briefcase in WWE, because, you know, they do it properly. It is a old lion, young lion, Leon Slater, Frankie Kazarian. It's going to be a heck of a match. I think Leon Slater is going to get the win. A loss to this version of Frankie Kazarian, who's just a cocky asshole, won't hurt him in the slightest. Nice and easy. We're already 1 match down. See, I'm doing okay. I don't do a whole lot of solo stuff anymore, because I have great friends like Jake to help me prop this channel up. Once again, plug for Jake. Go check out his channel. We do live reaction streams recently to a lot of live shows. We will not be doing a live reaction, or a live post-show reaction, I should say, to this show. The schedule just doesn't work out for that properly, but we will be doing one for Saturday night's main event, and we will be doing one, obviously, for the Royal Rumble, which is stacking up pretty nicely. Again, more to come on that on the State of Wrestling. Next one on the card, we got Moose versus Ace Austin for the X Division Championship. A lot of interesting moving parts going into this. Moose, I love a big guy holding the X Division Championship, because when they made the X Division, they had Samoa Joe in there, so that they could back up their claims that the X division was it's not a cruiserweight division, it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. And to do that, you've kind of had guys like Samoa Joe, guys like Josh Alexander, and currently guys like Moose in there to be like, okay, this is your division that's kind of like a cruiserweight division, but if we give it to a big guy, he's going to swat those guys out of the air. Now, on the other side of the coin, you got Ace Austin, who's very much doing a Jey Uso bit, like breaking out of his tag team, going out on a singles run off the back of Chris Bay's injury last year. All kinds of thoughts and prayers out to Chris Bay. Hope that guy's doing all right. Hope he gets back to wrestling, selfishly, but realistically, I hope the guy's living all right. Hope the guy can eat and walk and do all those kind of cool things. In the meantime, off the back of that, you got Ace Austin, who's going to go on a hell of a title run. Came out to announce that he was going to go for a world title run, wanted a shot at the world championship, and let's just skip down to the bottom. Whether it's Nick Nemeth or whether it's Joe Hendry, Ace Austin getting that world title shot wouldn't be half bad. Ace Austin getting his hands back on the X Division Championship and immediately cashing in Option C, maybe even making it a triple threat match at the end of the night, but there's a lot of other things going into that main event. I really like this. Ace Austin has every reason to win. Moose has every reason to be overconfident. David could slay Goliath. Goliath also has a whole faction behind him, though. So I'm going to go, prediction-wise, I'm going to go the safe route and say that Moose is going to retain. Where does my heartstrings go? My heartstrings go where the story obviously wants my heartstrings to go. I hope Ace Austin gets the championship. I hope when he gets his tag team partner back, if he gets his tag team partner back, maybe, potentially, he's walking around as a dual champion. Just saying, that'd be a lot of fun. Knockouts World Tag Team title match. Spitfire, which is Jody Threat and Danny Luna, versus Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance with the personal concierge. Obviously, I have to throw my own biases into the mix here. Yes, nice and early. I've seen a lot of these people wrestle at Destiny. Check it out for Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. Jody Threat is awesome. I've met her more than once. She did a lot of matches in the early days of me going to Destiny shows. Danny Luna brought Subculture to one of the Destiny shows as well, and they had a hell of a match against the cool kids of Destiny, which was all kinds of fun. Ash by Elegance, FKA Dana Brooke. I'm always going to love her getting her due, because she never, I'm a fair critic of WWE, even though WWE are killing it right now. Dana Brooke never got her due, and she never ever got her due, and that pissed me off a lot. Giving her sort of a little sidekick, protege, whatever you want to say, in Heather Reckless, redubbing her Heather by Elegance, is a good little act there, and they work pretty good as a tag team. The match should be a lot of fun. And yes, I'm very, very biased. The personal concierge, aka George Iceman, is a really, really cool dude. Can't wait till I go to the next Destiny show to tell him once again that I think he's a really, really cool dude. And him playing a heel on television really makes me smile, because I've met the guy, and he's tossed me a ticket here and there, and he's just a good guy. So him playing a heel, even though he's really good at it, is pretty cool. I want Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance to show up on NXT, which is something we're going to talk about later on as well. But more so because to see the personal concierge interact with Ava and Mr. Stone and maybe Tony D, etc., 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 would be a lot of fun. Happy for that guy. Happy for everybody in this match. I really don't think Jody Threat and Danny Luna are dropping these titles anytime soon. Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance won't be hurt by the loss. Personal Concierge will probably be on the outside, being apoplectic at the injustices that are perpetuated on his girls, and it'll all be really, really, really fantastic. I do see a retention here. I want to see a retention here, and I do see a retention here. Josh Alexander. Again, heavy biases towards Josh Alexander, bridging back to the fact that I've been to a lot of Destiny shows. I've said it before. It's worth saying again. When I went to a Destiny show for the first time, it was because they were advertising Pete Dunne versus John Morrison on the marquee very, very, very quickly, or at least at the time. I realized that Josh Alexander was everybody's guy. He was the AJ Styles. I want to say he was the John Cena, but he was the John Cena in a very not John Cena way, to the point where I was not only sitting ringside, but banging my fists on the apron along with everybody else in the Don Koloff when he picked up that championship for the first time. The guy is amazing in the ring. There's not much the guy cannot do in the ring. When he was the X Division champion, as I spoke about before, you got big guys and you got high flyers. Josh Alexander made that belt the technical belt for a little bit, gave it a little bit more of that Intercontinental Championship kind of feel. Anyways, my waffle here is to say Josh Alexander is apparently wrapping up all his indie dates, is apparently coming towards the end of his run at TNA. Total speculation on my part, but good God, I would love to see this guy in WWE. If you guys haven't heard me say it before, I want to see a Josh Alexander taking on somebody like a Chad Gable. I want to see a Josh Alexander I want to see Josh Alexander versus Pete Dunne that I sat front row for at a Destiny show on the WWE platform. I really, really do. I think the guy deserves it. I think he's fantastic. Little dirt sheet things here and there that may or may not even have been true, but apparently his last proper indie date was canceled due to snowy conditions, which is, if that's true, that is the most Canadian thing ever. He's taking on Mike Santana, who's doing on a really cool thing as well. They're making Mike Santana this sort of like this solo faction killer. He went through all the members of the system to get to Moose when he was feuding with Moose. Now he's gone through both members of Josh Alexander's Canadian Armory, or the whatever. What's the Armory, whatever they are, Canadian Army, Canadian Armory, whatever he's doing with Judas Icarus, and I can't think of the other guy's name because I'm an asshole. But they had a 3-person gauntlet, which ended with Josh Alexander being the third contestant, and just the 3 of them beating down Mike Santana, so they got a match tonight. I did see, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and it doesn't say it on here. I did hear through the grapevine that this might be a last man standing match. Again, that could be very wrong. I don't think it needs the stip, but if it has the stip, god damn. Either way, I think Mike Santana wins. If Josh Alexander is leaving, I kind of see him going out on his back and Mike Santana picking up that torch, so to speak. I don't know what that does with the Canadian Armory, whether they just go on as a tag team, because the 3 of them are a pretty damn good unit as well. Josh Alexander married to Jay Chung, who's the announcer for TNA, who's apparently also left. So very, very interesting. Another really, really nice person in real life, and somebody that I wouldn't mind seeing part of the broadcast team on NXT or WWE in general. What's another one? Charlie Dempsey versus Josh Alexander would be a lot of fun. Predicting Mike Santana. Mike Santana's been kicking ass since he got away from AEW, since he got away from his former partner, since he's gone on this solo run, like man on a mission, no pun intended. Couldn't be happier for that guy. Josh Alexander's going to make him look like $1 million as well. Okay. Tessa Blanchard is back in TNA, and everybody's mad about it, because apparently she said some naughty words. Apparently she said some naughty things. Apparently she's not on everybody's Christmas card list. Let me tell you right now how I'm not going to delve into the political end of this, other than to say that cancel culture can lick the dirtiest parts of my ass. I could not care less. I could not care less. The brief bit of Tessa Blanchard that I saw before she left TNA last time made me want to see more of her, made me want to see her in WWE, mixing it up with the likes of Charlotte, etc. But apparently this is Jordynne Grace's swan song match, because worst kept secret since Penta is that Jordynne Grace is probably debuting in the Royal Rumble, which is awesome. Jordynne Grace coming to the Rumble, hopefully coming to the main roster. As I've said before, and I've said it on State of Wrestling with Jake as well, I wouldn't mind Jordynne Grace coming down and mixing it up with some more people in NXT. I would love to see her and Julia, her and Stephanie Vacour, her and Fallon Henley, her and Zarya, her and Kalani Jordan. You know, David and Goliath type of match there once again. Let her grab a random tag team partner and go up against the Meta Girls or Fatal Influence or Shotzi's new group, Shotzi Blackheart. versus Jordynne Grace would be a lot of fun. But first of all, I don't think it's going to happen. Second of all, Shotzi's technically a main roster talent. Third of all, she's not Shotzi Blackheart anymore because, you know, WWE still does that occasionally. The match is going to be good. I don't know how it plays out because apparently Jordynne Grace is kind of upset that this is her last match. Again, dirt sheets. I'm not saying that as fact, just reading the speculation that is out there. But Jordynne Grace is fucking awesome. She's going to drop on the WWE main roster like a bomb, and it's going to be awesome. And hopefully, the wrestling gods are in my favor, and one way or another we work our way to Jordynne Grace versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for a championship. But that's putting the cart way before the horse. And what does that do? That leaves the TNA women's division behind in the hands of Tessa Blanchard, who I want to see more of. Yes, once again, cancel culture can fuck all the way off. Oh yes. Match should be good, though. I don't really know what else to say. There's no title involved. I don't think there's anybody else getting involved in this. It is what it is. And as I say, it's rumored to be Jordynne Grace's last match. If that's the case, I do hope they give her some sort of pomp and circumstance, fond farewell on an upcoming episode of Impact. Maybe the episode of Impact before the Rumble. That would be a nice, neat little bow type thing. Now, the problem with that is you would have to indicate to the fans in some kind of way that if she shows up at the Rumble, that she's not just making another cameo. It's the as I said with other things before, it's very, very similar to the NXT problem. Roxanne Perez would be a prime example of if she shows up in the Rumble, people are going to pop because they know who Roxanne Perez is. But you kind of got to put your chips one way or the other and say, okay, is this Roxanne Perez who's now in the Rumble because this is her call up to the main roster? Or is this Roxanne Perez popping up in the Rumble representing NXT because NXT does participate in the Rumble? Now, I don't know how you do that without the commentary just saying, oh, I'm so happy to be hearing in my ear just now that we've just booked, you know, Roxanne Perez to SmackDown and Jordynne Grace is the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster. I don't know where she would go as well, because as far as new people, NXT just got Stephanie Vacour, Zarya, and Julia. SmackDown got the Motor City Machine Guns, and Raw just got Penta. So where do you put Jordynne Grace? And I don't say that in a, oh my god, this is a problem now, we got to figure out where to put Jordynne Grace, but she's a hell of a talent. She's a hell of a addition to your roster. You got other people coming back like Asuka, like Charlotte, like Becky. Jesus Christ, Asuka and Jordynne Grace doesn't sound like half a bad match either. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun to come from the Jordynne Grace conversation. Unfortunately, to get to that conversation, you have to leap past this match, and that's not what we're here for. The match is going to be good. Tessa Blanchard is a shit disturber, if nothing else, and that can be fun. That will, for better and worse, get some conversation going on around TNA. So, it is what it is. Now, the tag title, the men's tag title situation is a little bit different in the auspice of I haven't seen the Go Home show yet. Now, on the Go Home show, you've got the Hardy Boys taking on PCO and what the hell is his name? Sami Callihan. There we go. My brain is working. This is why I need a co-host. You got PCO and Sami Callihan, who are now a team, which is random as hell, but I really like it, taking on the Hardys in a non-title match to insert themselves into the match, which is the Hardy Boys versus the Rascals, which is just a match that basically arose out of a respectful conversation backstage. I love the Rascals. If you guys don't know that I love the Rascals at this point, you just simply haven't been paying attention. Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz. I wish Zachary Wentz had spent a bit more time in the NXT crossover, because him getting fired from NXT was bullshit. Oh yes, but the Rascals taking on the Hardys. I'm a huge Hardy mark. You guys know that. There's not anything more that really needs to be said about that. The Hardys going into that weird and wacky TLC type match that they had and becoming the tag team champions in 2024 was it for me. It was I mean, you knew it was going to be them winning the titles when it was the main event and the whole arena was painted in Hardy graffiti, but it was still a pop nonetheless. Them versus the Rascals is just a fun match that I want to see. If we had any whispers that the Hardys were winding it down and sort of calling it a day, I would say 100%. It's a passing of the torch. Give it to the Rascals. I think you go right now that the Rascals run them close. They raise their hands at the end of the night. If Sami Callihan and PCO were tossed into the mix, then it just not only does it become a little bit more chaotic in the ring, but also by virtue of it being a triple threat match, you get a lot more to play with because triple threat matches are no disqualification. If it's a triple threat, the Hardys are definitely retaining. If it's 2-on-2, as much as I'm a Hardy mark, I would pop rotten for the Rascals beating the Hardys for those tag titles, because the Rascals, they're right there, man. And I don't want to poach everybody from TNA. I really don't, because that's what WWE's getting accused of already, even though people just deciding they want to work somewhere else is not poaching. But I really want good things for the Rascals, and I do want them to show up on WWE someday. And I'm careful every time I say that now, because people are saying, oh, WWE's treating TNA like a feeder system. Well, AEW treated WWE like a feeder system back when people thought AEW was good. So let's be a little bit fair about all this. Everybody shows up on Bloodsport. Everybody. TNA, NXT, WWE, AEW, ROH. Everybody shows up on Bloodsport. Second place to that would be NXT. Bloodsport's number 1, NXT's number 2. Anybody can show up in NXT as well. You had Masha Slamovich showing up on NXT. You had Bayley showing up on NXT. You had Yamamura, I think is his name, the guy that's teaming up with Josh Briggs. Somebody please tell me down in the box below if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, because I'm not trying to be an asshole. But speaking of Masha Slamovich is defending her title against Rosemary in a Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, which means A, we're going to get a cameo from Raven, which is awesome. Never, ever, ever a bad thing. Second off, you're going to get Rosemary in a no DQ situation, which is going to be fantastic. And Masha Slamovich kicks all kinds of ass. Now, here's the thing. You got to play a lot of snakes and ladders here. Masha Slamovich showed up in the audience on NXT last night. I'm recording this on Wednesday because it's a better thing to do than watching AEW. Masha Slamovich showed up on NXT last night watching the Jade Cargill-Kalani Jordan match, not watching either of the champions, just sat in there for this match, and then Cora Jade kind of gave her a side eye as we're going out the door there. They got commentary acknowledged Masha Slamovich in the crowd. Commentary also put over the Genesis pay-per-view, which was kind of cool. It becomes a little more difficult when they do Friday pay-per-views, because obviously WWE's not going to promote a Friday pay-per-view to go up against SmackDown, but this one being on Sunday is a different story. It's kind of shitty timing-wise, but you do have to understand where they're coming from with that one, especially right now where just about everybody is watching everything on Netflix unless you live in America. So we want to tiptoe into the Netflix era and not be promoting something against SmackDown, which is on Netflix, unless you live in America. But follow me here for a second. Cora Jade, there we go. Cora Jade is going to show up and maybe fuck over Masha Slamovich. Maybe not. Maybe try to fuck her over and fail. Rosemary picking up the title in a very, very fitting match would be awesome. You guys know how I feel about Rosemary. Another one that I wish not necessarily come over to NXT, but had been in that sharing transfer window, I guess is the new term we're using now, doing the stuff with Wendy Chu and whatnot. Now, if Rosemary becomes the champion, I will pop rotten. If we get a match between Masha Slamovich and Cora Jade, I do not care. I do not give a single fuck whether it happens on NXT or whether it happens on Impact. I don't care, because either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. But walk with me here. Masha Slamovich used to be tag team partners with Killer Kelly. Cora Jade is tag team partners with Roxanne Perez. If we get Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez taking on MK Ultra, the reunited MK Ultra after Killer Kelly's been gone for so long, that would be pay-per-view worthy. Now, the other side of that coin now, just going off of last night, is who stepped up to Roxanne Perez last night. That was Bayley. If we can't get Killer Kelly back, if she's not back yet, like, by all means, handle your stuff, come back when you come back. But I mean, Bayley wouldn't be a bad substitution for Killer Kelly. So Masha Slamovich from TNA Masha Slamovich from TNA and Bayley from SmackDown taking on a legitimate, established, somewhat tag team in NXT, not only doing the crossover with TNA, also introducing the Roxanne Perez-Bayley rivalry, which could carry Roxanne right over into the main roster. There are a million branches off of what is actually a good tree. Now, let me be clear about that. That was an AEW dig, not a Chris Jericho dig. Chris Jericho is awesome. You guys are haters. It's fine. If none of this happens, and if the Cora Jade thing doesn't happen this Sunday, Masha Slamovich wins. And I'm cool with that. Rosemary doesn't lose anything by losing. Her character is fucking awesome. I love it. It's if she's going to be managed by Raven, that's also a new interesting thing. I really would like to know if we're ever going to get Decay back, but again, another story for another day. If Rosemary wins, or if Cora Jade fucks over Masha Slamovich and Rosemary gets the win. Rosemary walking around with the TNA Knockouts Championship. Rosemary does a cameo in the Women's Rumble as the champion, and everybody in the ring goes, who the fuck is that? All kinds of fun stuff. Prediction, Masha Slamovich. Heartstrings tinged with a little bit of curiosity, if nothing else. Maybe Rosemary? Maybe? Just saying. Now, Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship. Now, they've teased and gone away from Joe Hendry being the world champion enough times that the people that are even more hardcore into TNA than I am are kind of getting frustrated with it. Are we doing always the bridesmaid, never the bride thing with Joe Hendry? I don't think so. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction, but I can see where they're coming from because there has been so many opportunities to sort of... That should have been the moment, if you know what I mean. They're both baby faces, even though, you know, Nick Nemeth is kind of hating on him because of all this stuff. The stuff with his brother, honestly, Ryan Nemeth is great at being a pissant heel. The fact that he's made his whole personality into, you better respect me, I'm the champ's little brother, it's working because I don't want him on my TV. And I definitely don't want him involved in this match. Now, Joe Hendry wins, Joe Hendry loses. Either way, he's one of the biggest, most rumored people to be either coming over to WWE or at least having a cameo in the Rumble. Joe Hendry does a cameo in the Rumble. Awesome. Joe Hendry does a cameo in the Rumble as the TNA champion, a la Jordynne Grace before him, a la Mickie James before her, even though, you know, Mickie James is Mickie James, would be awesome. And it would be platforming this working relationship that they have with TNA on a bigger stage than just doing it with NXT, even though I think them doing it with NXT makes a lot more sense. Joe Hendry, the TNA champion, having a cameo in the Rumble, fine. If Nemeth retains and Nemeth comes into the Rumble, just saying for an example, as the champion, as the TNA champion, and you have to do the whole, here's former WWE star, who's now the champion. I'm just making sounds now, it's fine. It would be very, very similar to Mickie James. Mickie James, when she came out with the Impact belt before they became TNA again, came out as TNA Mickie James. She came out with the hardcore country music. She came out with her more TNA persona, even though she's basically the same person. But I mean, do you get Nick Nemeth in the Rumble? It's like it's sort of a Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona thing. You know, Cardona wants to come back, but he doesn't want to be Zack Ryder anymore. There's the whole Chelsea Green tie into that. I don't know how they would handle Nick Nemeth, the Wanted Man. Do they play the Wanted Man gimmick music with the zipper pull at the beginning that's a little suggestive, even though they took the smoking noises out of the Rascals music when they were on NXT? A lot of this is really fun to play with. But Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, was in the DNA of WWE for so long. Somebody's going to call him Dolph Ziggler. Does Dolph Ziggler make a one-night comeback, or does Nick Nemeth have a cameo in the Rumble? Does Nick Nemeth have a cameo in the Rumble, even if he's not the champion? Either one of them can make a cameo in the Rumble, and this is sort of what I'm leaning on right now because I want to know what the next big move is. Joe Hendry, title or not, does a cameo. Nick Nemeth, cameo or not, title or not, can do a cameo as well. That being said, the Rumble is now off the table because they're in equal measure as far as that goes. So now you just got to think about TNA going forward. And as I say, that loud majority of the Joe Hendry fans and the TNA fans who really, really, really want it to happen, I think they're doing themselves a disservice if they bring him this close and pull it away from him again. Even if it does go with the story, even if it does go with Ryan Nemeth as a little shit disturber, rah, 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 you gotta do it. I'm a big fan of Ziggler, Ziggler, Nemeth, whatever. Very much in the same vein as Dana Brooke. I am loving seeing this guy get the platform that he deserves. Not where he did most of his earning, which was WWE, and they made him like the professional jobber to the stars, which is terrible, but then he also became the measuring stick of what a jobber to the stars does. So I don't know. I don't know what do you want your legacy to be? Happy to see him reach the top somewhere. Happy to see him in a place that allowed him to reach the top. Kind of like a Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali's short run in TNA with the X Division Championship was great. Ash by Elegance is going to have a title at some point. These are victories, and these are victories that say, yeah, when you leave WWE, there's more than one other place to go. That's the big win. And here's the thing. Ziggler, Nemeth, whatever you want to call him, is a made guy. He doesn't lose anything by losing the championship. Do I like him as champion? Yes. But you see Joe Hendry nipping at his heels, and you see the kind of following Joe Hendry has. I think you got to go with it. My prediction is Joe Hendry. My personal, what am I pulling for? My heartstrings, my curiosity is also Joe Hendry. And either way, I'm cool with either one of them showing up in the Rumble, which is such a side conversation. So, what are we doing here? Frankie Kazarian's going to win. I hope Ace Austin wins. I hope Spitfire retains. Mike Santana's going to beat Josh Alexander. I think Tessa Blanchard's going to beat Jordan Grace, and that's going to make a lot of people real crusty. The men's tag title match depends if there's a third participant or not. Masha Slamovich retains unless there's NXT fuckery, and I think Joe Hendry walks out as your TNA champion. Let me know what you guys think down in the box below. Are you going to be watching on Sunday? Please, as I say, Jake and I aren't doing a post show for this one. As I say, life's kicking us in the butt, which is why Jake's not with me tonight. Hopefully he'll be back with me tomorrow. We will not be doing a live post show for this. Stay tuned. Go subscribe to Jake's channel, Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco. We will be doing post shows for Saturday night's main event and the Royal Rumble unless life comes and kicks us in the butt. Again, go follow him on X. He has won his war with Twitter. He can actually use it again. So go bug Jake at Countdown Ended. Send him all the love. Send him all the support. Send him all the, come back and make Spaz sound better, because that's what he does. But yeah, we will be doing State of Wrestling tomorrow. All things being equal, that should be out in your feeds by Friday. And then we go into next week where we preview Saturday night's main event. We go into the following week where we preview the Royal Rumble and all kinds of other things. There's all kinds of stuff. There's stuff. And what do Jake and I say all the time about the WWE more specifically? What are they doing in WWE right now? Everything. What are they doing in TNA right now? TNA is kicking ass right now. I'm talking to you guys about TNA right now instead of watching Dynamite. Oh yes, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, might be a surprise to some. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye guys.